probably down in Austin.
Yeah, it's like a little charter, I like to call it. They pay for me, or we'll have like kids that just joined the BPA, like them be responsible for the collating of the portfolios that we do, and them handle that end. It's more about there's some community art projects that Drive-By will do. It's been rolled up and put to sleep tonight, or last night, for time to give it dash, right? And so now it's like we're going to wake up the stone. We want him to print. So rather than using the lithographs and water like you do for a washout, right? Rather than doing that, we're going to use SC Johnson's paste wax, and it has to be SC Johnson's. I tried the Minwax and I gave a demo and I fell on my face, and that's the most horrible thing to do as a demonstrator, is to be given a demo and it not work. But that's called lithography. It happens. But with this stuff, you take a handful of this stuff here, and like I said, the MSDS toxicity level, nowhere comes close to the toxicity of that. Now you say, but you're wearing gloves. I'm wearing gloves because this stuff is mega, mega waxy, and I do not want to get this wax all over my fingers, because then, like a little baby, I got the tendency to put my hands in my mouth, and so I don't want to be tasting this stuff because it tastes like crap. So I'm just massaging it in all the way around, just getting it. And what it's going to be doing, you can see it changing color, so it's picking up the crayon right now. So it's basically asking, or acting like my washout right now. So let me get a little bit more, put it on. And I learned this from this guy in Tucson by the name of Andy Pope, and he's real big about toxicity in lithography and ways of like not making it toxic anymore. And this is one of the methods in which you do it, and it cuts out a step. And the step being, rather than lithographs, water, and then the asphaltum, it just makes it all wax, and then dirty sponge, clean sponge. So I'm wiping it up. You can see the crayon drawing there, but the ink that's on the image of the stone is washing out right now.
So you can use a rag, right?
A rag?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'll wipe it up with, or a paper towel here at the end after I do that. And then I'll apply more of the wax to act as the primer for all the dirty stuff in there. So now all of it's coming out. You can see the ink is coming up. So again, the paste wax is acting like the lithographs in the water right now. It's taking off all the ink off. All right, Marcus.
Did Polk, right?
Andy Polk, yeah.
Did he ever have any problems with it not washing out enough? Or?
No, you might have some difficulties in what appears for the ink to be off when you use like a tush or autographic ink. You can be scrubbing and being like, damn, am I getting it? And the way to really tell is how dirty that the wax is. When you see how dirty it is, when we put on the second coat of it, you'll see that the wax won't change colors. And the fact that it doesn't change colors reflects the fact that the ink is off the stone.
And if it does keep change colors, you just, rinse and repeat, just keep going.
Yeah, just keep going at it. And so what I like to do after I have the ink off is buff it down real tight. Make sure you got all of that off, and then get it off my fingers. Then I'll get more, and this is where it starts acting like the asphaltum. This is the asphaltum part. And you can see how it's much cleaner, like it's not any residual ink that's on it that's coming from the glove, and you can see how the wax is retaining the same color as it did. So that means that we got a good washout within it.
And it's still got the gum film on there, right?
Yeah, it doesn't strip away the gum. Okay, one more rag, and I'll do that. I'm going to recycle that. And like I was saying earlier, if y'all go on to do litho in grad school or in teaching, using this stuff takes off your overhead of your lab than having to use the lithographs right here. And like I said, the toxicity levels are really, really brought down because you're not breathing in the fumes as you're going over with the lithographs. touching a lot of the stuff within that. All right, so it's buffed down, it's primed. So our next step we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and sponge it out. Doug, will you go ahead and dirty sponge it for me?
So you do sponge right here?
Yep. Splash it on there. What's that? Yeah, this is like kind of acting just way like you do when you're printing with your dirty sponge and then coming up with your clean sponge. Come up with your clean sponge.
Comes out inverted.
Yeah, it is very stiff.
Making things difficult. No, Madison, it's a very delicate drawing, so Marcus used the stiff ink, which is Ceracolors. And it just takes you a little bit longer to build up ink on the stone, but that's okay. This is how it's supposed to be, because if you go with the very greasy ink, what's going to happen is just the beautiful drawing can clog or just
it's going to fill in.
It's going to fill in, and it would be just like a pack, little pack space here and there.
Well, so what that refers to is the ink viscosity. Ink viscosity is something you use in all of printmaking, and that's its resistance to flow. And you don't want the ink's flow to be great in an image like this. As like Julia said, the detail, what happens is the ink expands. So when you have these drawings that are looked at microscopically, that are the ways between my fingers might be the area within the crayon on the stone, the juicier the ink, then the more that sits up on it, and you start losing detail because it kind of closes in upon it. Can you put that for me again? And so this will be the last time. We'll let Marcus pull a proof of this real quick. But essentially, that's the end of the demo, and that you see that it works. It works as the washout. It works as the primer of the asphaltum in replace of, just from using this stuff. And that's it again. So it's a way to print safer, a way to do lithography and not get cancer. When we drive by, we've been on the road a lot, we get to meet a lot of different cats that show us these different demos and demonstrations and tours and ways of doing things differently. But we also get to meet a lot of cats that have cancer because of the carcinogens that are involved in our process that we use as printmakers. So anything that we can perpetuate that's going to kind of cut that down or give kids the option to use it, then that's what we do. So hopefully that was beneficial to y'all and it'll keep somebody from getting nard cancer or something. Any questions? Comments?
All these guys will pick up my check.
I'm not sure.
And you hold it out? Okay, so today we can do a lot in the second page. You did some additions, you did scratches, and so on. So once we roll up, we'll see if the edge was covered.
Then when you missed it. You'll see it one day.
It's very simple. I would just suggest that you bring some of the sea, which is easier to wash it out after each time. Yeah, and somebody's